1 second. We're going to grab that just to make sure you can hear me nice and clear. Good morning, everyone. So, I don't know if anyone here has ever been in transition, but that's where I am. Here, that should be a nicer sound for you. Don't have my office set up for chatting live yet, but I've been going live on here on YouTube and painting. And so we're not painting today. You're actually seeing my face, and it's not a perfect setup behind me by any means, but that's okay. If you've been following my YouTube journey, I've been experimenting, stepping back into to the live world. I used to do a ton of lives, and it's been a few years, and playing with YouTube and different topics. I'm playing with all sorts of stuff. So in transition for sure. So as you join in, feel free to drop in the comments, tell us where you're listening from, and be sure and ask questions. So today we're going to talk about what true healing is. So this is sort of, again, transitioning in my business, going towards more energy healing, intuitive healing, which I've been doing essentially the entire time I've been in business. It's just been in the background. Now we're bringing it to the forefront. So this is something that I'm really passionate about, something I've been studying, something I really feel like I'm here to help people with. So you're my guinea pig audience. First time we're really diving into this topic, especially on a live. So feel free, ask questions, fire away. So true healing. So whether it is you have some kind of physical ailment, even just an ache, maybe you have like a dull ache in your shoulder. I've been working through this like tension in my left hip, which I might refer to throughout this video. Or maybe you have a chronic illness, or maybe you feel physically fine, but mentally you struggle. Maybe you struggle with anxiety, depression, something like that. Or maybe you're just like none of that, but you're just feeling burnt out, or you're just feeling unfulfilled, or you're just feeling stuck. So any of those things, we're going to dive into each. Any of those things can be signs that you need to heal. You need to heal something. You need to receive a healing. So I believe that healing is a four-prong approach, right? It's not just like Western medicine. If I went in and said my hip hurts, they may send me to physical therapy, but they might just give me some pills and call it good. That's happened several times throughout my life. I don't fully agree with that method in certain ways. Now I lost my train of thought. So there is no quick fix to healing. I think that our society likes to slap a quick Band-Aid on anything and everything and quick fix them. Oftentimes our medicine system addresses the symptom, but not the root. I'm really more interested in addressing the root of the issue and looking at healing from, again, a four-prong approach. So those four prongs are mind, body, soul, and emotion. Or mind, body, emotion, and soul, if you want to put it in that order. So let's talk through each of those things and what I mean by each of those. So first we'll start with the mind, right? Mind. So I often say mind, body as one hyphenated word, but we'll start here with just the mind. So in the spiritual world, there's a big debate like affirmations, no affirmations. I believe you heal the mind in two different ways. I believe you heal from the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So the conscious mind is what you're using right now. You're evaluating me probably. You're thinking, do I agree with this? Do I not? You're consciously thinking, coming from a place of identity. Like, is this something I want? Is this something I believe in? Really like filtering everything through your conscious mind. The subconscious mind, I always say, is like an iceberg, right? You see, the conscious mind would be like the top tip of the iceberg. The subconscious mind is the 75% in the water that you don't see. So your subconscious mind is what is actually running the show. However, I do believe you need the subconscious and the conscious to be on track together to move in the same direction, right? If you're healing your subconscious and not your conscious, you're going to have some issues. I used to believe you just needed the subconscious, but I think we really need both to be. So affirmations is the conscious mind, and that does absolutely help. But if you're not working on the subconscious, the lower half of the iceberg, it's not going to work much at all. So, so when we get into the subconscious mind, right, that is your deep-seated beliefs since childhood. Usually we create our subconscious beliefs between ages 1 and 7. So you're a tiny, tiny, tiny person, not old enough to make educated ways of filtering things that come into your body. So anything you experience from ages 1 to 7, big T, little t trauma, either way, it's going to shape your view of the world, and it's going to shape your physiology and how you respond to the world. So not just your, first we'll say subconscious beliefs, right? So if, at age 4, when I'm very impressionable, my mind is a sponge, I'm all open to the world, and somebody that I love and trust tells me money is hard to make. And then I bring that into my belief system. I swallow it as truth, and then continue to grow up throughout my life. And then all of a sudden I'm in my 30s or 40s and I'm wondering, why is money so hard for me to make? Because somewhere in my subconscious, I learned that's ingrained in my body, and I've never re-examined it. So there is a whole process of re-examining your subconscious beliefs in order to let them go, transform them. And that's how we do a lot of healing, right? But I also want to be conscious of the fact that those subconscious beliefs that is held in the body, so in the soma, which is where somatic healing, that phrase comes into place. Like you're healing the body, and so your nervous system and your subconscious are the same thing. So what if you believe money's hard to make and it makes you kind of like clench, right? You're kind of like fearful, kind of scared in that scarcity mindset. This physical reaction, maybe you clench your jaw, something like that. That is your nervous system, right? That is your subconscious and your nervous system aligning. Your subconscious is telling the nervous system, we're not safe. Well, let's clench. So then that becomes a layer of healing, right? Making sure the nervous system can relax and feel safe, which takes us into our second mode of healing, which is the body. So I was kind of dipping in there already. But I also want to, not just the nervous system, but I also want to bring light to the fact that our patterns, our mental patterns create our physical patterns. So for instance, I'll use the jaw again. So if you're clenching your jaw a lot, there's obviously a subconscious reason for that. So there's some deep-seated mental belief that you have to be in control. You need to bite your words, or hold your tongue, bite your tongue, right? Or maybe there's a subconscious fear you're holding on to. So that can be jaw clenching, right? So that is a physical pattern that comes from your subconscious. So that physical pattern, so if you're clenching your jaw every day, every night, every day, every night, then one day you're going to go to the dentist, maybe, and they might say, hey, you grind your teeth at night. We need to put a mouth guard in or whatever because you're grinding your teeth away. And maybe you don't want to do the mouth guard. Well, eventually your teeth are all gnawed out and you need to get some real intense dental work done. So you can see how something like a belief you learned in childhood, let's go back to the money one, right? So money is hard to come by. And so that caused your subconscious to clench, that caused your nervous system to clench. And so now you're clenching your jaw as an adult because you believe that in the back of your mind somewhere, even though you're trying to make money, you're not trying to self-sabotage, but your subconscious is, right? And so then that's creating a physical pattern, the jaw clenching, and then that can create physical dis-ease, physical ailments, physical pain, right? So it can sometimes take a while for us to see the physical result of the mental and subconscious beliefs, but they are all related. They are all connected. And so that's why I believe you can't just, let's just throw a mouth guard on you, right? Let's look at what's actually causing it and release some of that so that you can actually just feel relaxed and feel great and not clench your jaw and not grind your teeth. So, one example there. So, we have mind, body. Next, we're going to talk about emotions. So, I like to say emotions, emotion. They're meant to be energy in motion. So, emotions are meant to flow through us. I was sitting on my couch this weekend, I think watching a show, wasn't really doing anything. And all of a sudden, I felt like heavy sadness come over me. And I was like, what was I thinking? Did I think of something sad? I couldn't pinpoint anything. So I just took some deep breaths and let it flow through me. And in a few seconds, it was gone, right? But to me, it was such a good reminder of like, just let it move through you, whether it's anger, sadness, grief, whatever, any kind of emotion, allow it to move through you. So that's what they're designed to do. We're human, we're meant to have emotions. Not having emotions can be stuck energy, right? I used to not ever cry or not ever feel anything, never get angry. That was suppressed emotion, which also is not helpful. You're meant to feel it to heal it, let it flow through. But also, like, if you've again gone through anything in life, it could be something that seemed big to you or something that didn't. If you didn't allow yourself to fully feel the emotions, right? Feel it to heal it. You have to feel it to release it. And then it's, months, years down the road, and maybe you're having a physical ailment. Many times that can be emotions that need to move, emotions that are stuck. Also, mentally, if you're feeling mentally stuck, if you're feeling unhappy, a lot of times there is emotions being held in your body that are stuck that need to move. So that's where energy healing can come into play, because energy, emotions, energy in motions, right? We're moving some of that energy out, allowing you to feel safe to release some old emotions. This also goes again back into somatics and body work. It's all related, right? You have to have the body feel safe and relaxed in order for the emotions to come. If you've ever been in the middle of a yoga class and had a emotional release or emotional reaction, that's because the mind, body, emotion, they're all related, right? And then I will touch on energy. So just straight up energy. This wasn't really one of my 4 pillars, but it's kind of the 5th pillar, to be honest. Your aura, again, your emotions, any just energy blocks inside you, which again are going to be connected to the mind or the body or the soul, which we'll get to in just a second. But any kind of energy stuckness, that is an opportunity to heal. Energy is meant to flow. It's meant to be fluid like water. You think about stagnant water, it gets yucky. We get bugs in it. Water is meant to flow. Energy is meant to flow too. And so making sure that your energy is flowing through you and around you, not feeling stuck in any part of the body or in any part of the energy field. And then last, we have your 4th pillar, your 5th pillar is soul. Things it matters, right? Things matter that we don't. I know a lot of people think, oh, purpose, that's for the privileged, or, that's when you're old and your kids are grown. Well, your purpose matters and what you enjoy matters, because if you're not living in alignment with your truth and what lights you up and what brings you joy, you're going to have, guess what? Stuck energy, stuck emotions, which can cause physical ailments, mental ailments, mental unrest, right? So this is why when I do a lot of workshops teaching building your dream life, or working on I do unconventional goal setting for 2025 or unconventional goal setting for 2026. And what we do in those classes is not, I want XYZ by the end of the year. It's tuning into what brings you joy and what makes you happy, and creating space to bring more of that into your life. A beautiful, abundant, blessed life is not necessarily full of material things and lots of money. It is a life that brings you joy. And so that could be as simple as taking a walk every day at sunset. That could be as simple as your morning tea before you do anything else. Feels very luxurious, brings you lots of joy, brings you into the ritualistic of the moment. Ritualistic moment. So really tuning in, what is it that you're here to do? What lights you up? It doesn't necessarily mean a career change. We talked about this a little bit in the last video we did, last live we did last week. But really noticing what brings you fulfillment. So if you're not noticing that, if you're not heeding to that, if you're not listening to that, your body is going to act out. Your body is going to try and get your attention in other ways. Your mind may act out, right? Mind, body, emotions, they're all connected. I'll say it a million times. But also too, maybe you feel like you're coming up against a wall again and again and again. You're frustrated with a certain relationship or situation. That can very well be your soul reminding you that you're here to learn. You're here to learn and expand. You're here to become more. You're here to become greater. And in order to do that, sometimes we have to go up against something that doesn't feel quite comfortable, and learn that hard lesson, take that hard step, do what's hard for you. So for me, my life has been a long list of lessons of overcoming people pleasing, and I know a lot of you out there can relate to that. But when we're just doing what's expected of us, doing what other people want us to do, we're not honoring ourselves, we're not honoring our truth, and that can cause dis-ease in the body, in the mind, in the spirit. And so part of my life path has been learning to say no, learning to let go of what I think people think about me, what their opinions are of me. And that's been my hardest. And if you don't struggle with people pleasing, you're like, I don't get why that's so hard. If you do struggle with it, you understand, like, it has been so, so hard for me. But it gets easier, right? But like every time I'm about to expand, I come up against these tests. And it's typically setting boundaries, people pleasing, which is hard for me. So maybe your big lesson, maybe what's really hard for you, maybe it's addiction, maybe it's dealing with a family dynamic within your family of origin. I don't know, but be open to lessons that you're here to learn, because your soul, that's the ultimate purpose of life, right? You're here to expand, you're here to experience joy. And if you're not doing that, the beautiful intrinsic system that we are, mind, body, emotion, spirit, soul, energy, starts to get off balance. And when it's off balance, that is your light, like your lights on in your car, like, hey, you need to check something. That is your spirit's way of telling you, hey, something's off, you need to check something. So it's important to listen to our bodies, it's important to listen to our minds, and important to listen to our spirit and our soul as we're going through this life, and taking the hard stuff with the good stuff all together. Whew. Okay, so we talked about true healing, and it's a four-prong approach: mind, body, emotion, soul. And then I threw in my fifth silent pillar, energy. So if this was interesting to you, if you have questions, please feel free to drop below in the comments. Let's chat, let's talk. I would love to help you. And if you feel like you're having any of these symptoms and you're wanting to experience an intuitive healing session, I do offer those privately on a one-on-one basis, and you can drop below and check out the links to go ahead and sign up for one of those. So thank you so much for joining me and being with me as I transition, and I will talk to you soon. Have a beautiful day.